Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa EVO. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Now, in the last video, I was taking a first look at version 0.4 and I drove around, I drove around at the Nordschleife, but I took out the BMW M3 CSL, I took out a Ferrari F40 LM, and what else did I take out? Porsche Cayman, 718 Cayman GT4. I think that was the other vehicle that I took out for a drive, and I gave my thoughts and opinions on what 0.4 is like, what things still need to be improved, what feels different, and what is definitely, and certainly this is, I think, a fact across the board, has been improved from version 0.3. However, there are still things that need to be improved. There is still a way to go. And one of the things that I have tested in every single version is the computer, the NPCs, the AI, whatever you want to call them, your opponents. And that is what I'm going to be doing in this video. Now, in 0.3, I did not show you this on camera because of issues that I was having with 0.3 outright, but I did do it. I did do the test. And in 0.2, I did a test, and that one was with a Maserati, the new Maserati GT2 car, whatever it is, and that was pretty poor. They were at 100%, and I was some 7 or 8 seconds a lap faster than them without much practice. So yes, I want to see if it is any better in today's video. So I'm going to be going into single player, quick race at Brands Hatch with the Caterham Academy car. This is the car I intended to show you in 0.3. That is why I'm choosing it. Skill 95 to 100. It says opponent behavior safe. I cannot change that. So we'll say 95 to 100% is the skill. The skill, and the behavior is set to whatever the default is. We'll do 12 laps and see what happens. Make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started. Okay, so weirdly, I still have to start my engine on the grid, which is a strange thing to do. But there we go. First thoughts on this. Unlike version 0.3, they did not all immediately pull for the inside line, so that is good. That car just turned in on me despite the fact that I was on the inside, so maybe they are still lacking a bit of awareness, or some awareness. So I'll stay on the inside here because there's a car on my outside. So I've given a car's width there. There it is. It's still there. I'll still give enough room. Apparently track limits for me are a bit strange. Still there. That's not bad. Having a vehicle there through the entire section. Still there. Still there. Now clear. Now at that point I think head tracking would have been really useful to have, so I am looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Let's go catch up to the group ahead of us. I'm driving this car without any practice, so I'm not expecting to win. At least I shouldn't, given the difficulty that I've set this at. If I do win, I think the computer, the NPCs, the AI, whatever you want to call them, your virtual racers, your virtual opponents are going to need a lot more work. I think if I'm getting, lap times, 1:58.7 is what they've just got there, but that doesn't really matter, I guess. Well, I do have a delta, but I guess because of track limits, I'm not going to see anything on that delta. So we'll have to wait until the next lap to see exactly how that delta works. The new, I'll say that the new heads-up display, the new UI, it's quite good. Track limits, car in front, surely. I do like this new UI, and it appears that the positions change instantaneously now, so your position actually changes instantaneously as opposed to every, was it sector? I think it was doing it previously. So I do like how this is all laid out. True force is interesting, or full force, whatever I've got. What's the one I've got? Full force. It's an interesting thing to feel. Because I'm starting to feel the road a bit more. I'm starting to, naturally the engine revving is definitely there. I think I'm going through this corner far too slowly. I'm definitely not confident here. This car feels, now I remember this car being very, very twitchy on the back end. However, that was version 0.3. So as to whether it's still like that, I have no idea. Or is it just that I'll be able to feel it a little bit better? Wheel loaded up there. Steering wheel, that is. I felt the actual downhill, the actual G-force load up the wheel. So that is nice. Perhaps a little bit soft on the strength at the moment, but I've got room to play around with that. So I'll be looking at improving that, I think. Right, so I'm now on the inside. Is this car just going to... Okay, they did just turn in. Admittedly, I did brake a little bit early, expecting them to turn in. Perhaps they took the advantage. I'm not entirely certain. We'll have to see. Definitely have to see. They appear to be a little bit slow through this corner. And also a little bit slower through this corner. I think it's under braking that they are slower. That is what I'm getting from this. This is the bit that I am very, very uncomfortable with this vehicle. And actually, you can see that if you look at the blue vehicle in front, behind me, if you just look in my rear view mirror, that vehicle gets extremely close. And still is extremely close. Might be going for a move. Not quite. Slight bit of sliding, a bit more track limits, that's fine. Give that vehicle room. Took it. Little bit of stutter. Noticing just a bit of stutter as well. They are definitely going wider than I am on that corner, so I'm not sure how the track limits works there exactly. Should be getting on the throttle earlier here. I think, give it a few laps, I should be able to get into the 1 minute 49s really in this car. That is what I think I'm able to do. I do like the predicted lap as well. So with the Delta, you've also got a predicted lap that is constantly changing. A little bit more stutter. So I'm in the 51.4 is my predicted lap at present. And this is again the turn where I do lose the most time. just hesitant on the turn in there. And then there's this corner as well where I am, as I go over that crest, I feel like I lose a lot of time. But that's okay. I'm just learning, I guess. That was better. How do they respond to dives? Fairly reasonably, actually. That was surprising. I was expecting them to turn straight in on me, but they did not. So that's pretty good. And I have now taken the lead. So that took all of 5 laps to take the lead after not having raced in months. Perhaps more work needed. Trying to now get a feeling. Now that I'm in the lead, I have to pick my braking points and I have to see exactly. So this whole time I've just been braking a little bit later than the computer and making it. Now it's down to me to actually make the moves and actually figure it out for myself. 51.5 predicted. Okay, managed to get on the throttle. I think the back end is more stable than I think. Now, that is how I think it is. Now I've got the best lap as well. Pulling away there. Bit of wheel locking, not an issue. Okay, let's see what this car is like to drive through the next however many laps I'm driving it for. There is definitely a weird stutter though. I can see it, I can feel it. Target is going to be to try to get into the 1:49s. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that, but I'm going to, I'll try, of course. I might be able to do that without braking as well, that one. This one definitely needs brakes. That was perhaps too much. And then this is where I have to learn how to better take that. I'm still not taking that well at all. Potentially something along those lines. Okay, the car does feel more stable than previously. It does definitely feel more stable than previously. Lost a 1/10 and a half there for some reason. I'm not sure what I did. Bit wide. Just trying to feel a bit more of the limits of the car here. Still not. So there, under braking, there's a stutter, and the car tends to. I guess that makes sense with this car. So that I can feel it now, and I was not able to feel it in previous versions. So there is if you turn the car in anything with any amount of, I'd say, violence, aggression, urgency, it does tend to want to snap at the rear end, which is realistic. So you have to smoothly roll the vehicle in every time, and that's interesting. Well, I've managed to do that corner a little bit better. So if you snap it in, even in the slightest, it does tend to bite back immediately. And that was something I was unable to feel. I wasn't able to feel that in the previous, in version 0.3. I can feel that in this version, so that's good. I slowed down way too early there. Slow down way too early. Bit of stuttering around this corner too. Interesting. A little bit there, but I also got caught out on the curb. But I felt it, so I was able to catch it, and that's again a really important. I think that's a really important aspect of 0.4, that you are now able to catch those slides. Just trying to see what the different lines feel like. Curbs, grass. That one feels quite aggressive. Grass does not feel that aggressive at all, which makes sense. I'm half tempted to hit those bollards as well, just to see what would happen if I did. Three tenths down on the fastest lap. So at the moment, I think this is my limit for now. But I'm fairly certain another 1.5 seconds is quite easily possible here. A few laps to go. .2 of a second down. How is that track limits? I think the track limits needs to be worked out here, because that did not seem like track limits at all. And the reason I say that is because my front tyre, I felt my front tyre touch it, so touch the inside of the curb, but the back tyres on this car are slightly further out than the front, so the back tyre should have clearly been in. I guess if I had penalties applied, I would be losing quite a bit at this point in time. Let's see what happens if I hold fourth and turn it in with ease and then do that. Not exactly the fastest way around, that's for sure. Just trying to clip different curbs. Still really tempted to clip that. That was actually probably as close as I want to get to that, in all fairness. Okay, doing better this lap with the rest of the lap. Obviously it started off a little bit dodgy, but the rest of the lap has been almost bang on precision driving, shall we say. Let's try and do the rest of this lap in the same precision driving style as the last lap, but get the start of it right, which is what I've done here, although I've messed this corner up. Oh, that's going to lose me everything. So the good thing is that I can feel when the back end is going, which was really important, I think. See what happens if, no, braking through that and then accelerating up does not help in the slightest through any of this. So I did have a faster route before. I've got a couple of laps to figure this out and really push it. That was a little bit smoother. That's definitely a little bit smoother through all of that. Oh look, another lap in a row, done pretty much bang on the same lap time. That's a little bit better through there. Right, let's try and take the later apex through this and accelerate out. Sort of works, although I wasn't very good with that late apex. I was going to say, surely that isn't track limits. It wasn't. Get on the power. There we go. Heading into the 1:50 if I can keep this up. Which, you know, there is absolutely zero. There is absolutely zero certainty in me keeping this up. Maybe if I focus on the driving and less on the talk, but then my job here is to talk, so focusing on the driving and not the talking is not really going to help. I'm supposed to be talking. That's a little bit better. Actually, that didn't seem so bad after all. Oh, there we go. Clearly in the 1:50s now. In fact, now I'm starting to learn this vehicle and get a little bit more confident with it. Lost 2/10 there. Might be able to gain some of it back here though, because I was quite gained about 1/10 back there. Final lap. It's a little bit better through there. And I've pulled 10 seconds on second place. So yeah, that is not great. I think I should not have been able to do anything near that with my level of practice. So I think that needs to be definitely looked into. They were a little bit better on their driving though, I'll say that. They were better in their driving skill. They were not just turning in, well, actually they sort of were, but not as bad as before. Certainly not as bad as before. before they were behaving quite badly indeed. And as I said, what lap time should I be able to make? Should be able to make the 149s, and there we go, within 12 laps, 149.9. And I had 15 litres of fuel left, so I think I started with... I'll start with 30 litres, I have no idea, 25 litres, something like that. I only used half of it. Should those not be yellow flags now? Not green flags. It's going to go around the lap for, should we say, a victory? Almost lost it on the victory lap. That was interesting. There's the red flag. Not sure it should be red, but I think I understand what they're trying to denote here. It's nice to see all the flags though. There's a white flag waving, checkered flag waving, it's a green flag waving. I guess that is showing that the race is over, just for waving different flags. And then we have green lights. That's weird. Why do we have green lights here? Where are the other vehicles? And we'll pull into the pits at the end of this lap. Okay, so that was better, but realistically, so the car, in terms of the way the car's driving, it's not sliding quite as badly as before, so that is really good. That is definitely really good. However, I will say that despite that, there we go, we're in. Despite that, it is... Right, okay, can I go back? It's 10.9 seconds. Despite that, it still has some weird tendencies. There are definitely some weird tendencies. Can I go to the replay? Yes, there we go. Let's have a look at the replay right from the beginning. Just to get an idea of what the other cars were doing over this first lap. Yeah, there. So that car that I've just passed, that one just turned in on me without any notice of the fact that I was there. So that was interesting. That was definitely interesting. There it was fine. I did go off track there. Okay, although hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I went off track and so did a whole bunch of others. Off track. That one's been off track. And me. Oh, and the ones behind me are still going off track. Side by side, fairly close. It's given me room, I've given them room, it room. It seemed alright. Audio seems a bit weird, there's a little... some slightly odd noises going on. Taking a slightly defensive line. I'm looking at the rest of the cars and how they're following it. They all appear to be following in a very, very... They're all taking the exact same line. Yes, look at it. Look at that tail. So the tail behind my car, they're all following in the exact same line, exact same fashion, exact same turning. In fact, you could even hear when they were hitting the rumble strip, every single one of them was hitting the rumble strip for what appeared to be the exact same amount of time. So does that mean this car was not going for an overtake? No, they were not going for an overtake. It was just the line that they take. I thought that that particular NPC had pulled out to, or computer, whatever you want to call it, had pulled out to overtake. Okay, that lap, I do not think it showed me off track. I would have claimed that was off track. Interesting. Visually, there's a good improvement here. A really good improvement. Not off track, off track, off track, which seems to be the racing line, which I'm fairly sure is the racing line there at Brands Hatch. So perhaps some adjustments needed there. Should move forward to when I caught up to the vehicles in front. In fact, no, I want to see what not off track. Good. There we go. Okay, so this was a dive. Let's see what the response. Oh no, this one was not a dive. Absolutely no response there from the blue vehicle. No defense at all. So there appears to be no real defensive capabilities here. Will this one move out to attack, or is this just a general? No, it's just a general line. So I could have joined those lines and just done it myself in the exact same fashion. Interesting. Very interesting. A bit of a pop as I went up a gear. So braking a little bit early there. Wasn't sure what the orange vehicle was going to do. And you can see how the blue definitely closed in. One of the cars took longer, I just noticed, on the rumble strip. Interesting. So again, I thought that was an overtaking move, a half look at an overtake. It appears to just be the racing line that they take. I prefer a slightly wider racing line. Right, so this was an off track? Oh, that was off track. Interesting. Oh wait, they're all going off track. Never mind. I'll take that back. And then that was the dive that I wasn't even looking at. I've just noticed that all of them off Paddock Hill Bend is just, they're all off track. Look at them. So I've gone off and look behind. Off, 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 off. Right, let's focus on this. Let's go through a different camera angle. None of those. That one will do. So, did this car have any intention of... There was absolutely no defense. They did notice me because they went slightly wider than previously. So that's good. There was some sort of awareness, collision avoidance. So that's useful. Let's go see what the next overtake is going to bring. Here we go. It's going to be another wide moment. See, I was staying on track. Going up the inside, staying... see now there, it appears that... So it turns in, I'm there. At this point, it should then take this line. Instead, you'll notice it starts to turn in again, there. So it just continues turning and then moves out a bit. So that is interesting. And then it's another move. which that one was pretty simple. And now let's just have a look, to finish this video, let's have a look at my final lap, which was a 1:49.9, which I now think I can probably have brought down to a 1... See, I wasn't even touching the curb there. I can probably bring that down to a 1:49 dead. Because this wasn't the fastest start to the lap. I think 3 or 4 tenths in it. Look how wide, look how little track I'm using through that first section. There's a red flag flying. Wait, is this after my lap? This is after the race. Yeah, this is after the race. This is my final lap. There we go. Right. I was wondering, surely I didn't use... There we go. That's me using more of the track now. But I still think I didn't use enough track through all of this. See, too early on the apex, had to work that out. Here, I haven't come across enough. I could have come across a little bit more there. That turn-in's fine. That is fine. I could have used more track there. Probably about 4 tenths. 3 or 4 tenths in the first sector alone. Bit of a suspension bump there. That's quite nice to see over the curb. Let's try and get a better camera angle. Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, well, then we just go straight to that. Rubbish. And whilst this is happening, I shall do my outro. So, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on... what is this? Assetto Corsa EVO. I was going to say Assetto Corsa Rally. But no, this is Assetto Corsa EVO. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Suggestions you might have, car track combinations. I do want to do a video comparing the SF25 to the F2004, 2 Formula 1 cars. I know which one I'm going to prefer without even making the video, but there we go, I'm still going to try and do it anyway. But if you have any suggestions, please do let me know. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and Discord server. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Assetto Corsa EVO, where it shall be SF25 versus F2004.